Greetings and welcome to It's Your Voice, a podcast by me, Anita DeFrancesco. And this podcast will be brought to you weekly. It is a hybrid of topics within the subjects of mindfulness, sexuality, and relationships. But all in all, this is dedicated to, and It's Your Voice was born out of the Donna Gentili story, which is a true crime book I wrote on a first cousin who was silenced in 1985 and murdered. So it's a book available on Amazon that you can read. This It's Your Voice was born out of her story. But this podcast is dedicated to all the voiceless women of the world. May your voice be heard. And so I'll be bringing you this program weekly. Later on, I'll start to interview guests again, which I was on another podcast. But on this one right now, it'll just be me giving you some of my wisdom. And today's topic is, we're talking about the masculine and feminine polarities that exist in all of us. And really, what does that mean? And how do we navigate through that in our energy, in our aura, in our psyche? How does that feel to want to be making love, the male and female together, making love within? Or fighting within, or finding that balance within. So it's about assessing differences in yourself and others. And how do you connect to a mate? How does this all come about? Well, first of all, we're all, regardless of your sexual orientation or your sex, we're all comprised of this male and female, this strong and this vulnerable energy within. And boundaries, of course, are crucial to any psychological human being out there, because we need boundaries to navigate through the challenges in life, or navigate through the pain sometimes that life gives us. For the male and female energies to need to be brought into consciousness for humans to reach what we call a full maturity. And I know this could be a lifetime of working toward your personal development. But it's okay, because every day is a work in progress, and every day you wake up and you become a better person. And it should be a goal in a sense, rather than fall back, fall ahead. Now, what are the polarities that exist around us in our world? Of course, you have fire and water, you have the sun and the moon, you have active, passive. So you have these active and passive energies in a couple sexually. And sometimes one is more active and one is more passive, and then vice versa, the roles switch. So these are things that complement each other in the sexuality and the intimacy and the connection of you and your partner coming together. You have Shiva and Shakti. Now, my work is tantrawisdomcom, divinelovetransformation.com, and these are the way you can find me that way. I'm also a psychotherapist and a counselor, coach, love and relationship coach. Anyway, you can find me out there. But yin and yang is the big thing with Tantra. Now, that's like your male and female. But in the Buddhists, they see it as the left and right side of the brain. And I've always thought that, the right and left side, the more right brain people, especially if you're left-handed, are supposedly more creative. But a lot of the creative people, sometimes they're afraid to express, and they live in a shadow, or they're frozen from childhood, and they need a lot more nourishment, a lot more love in bringing that out. So you have a lot of people that are damaged, frozen, and fractured, that have such creative potential that it's unbelievable where they can go with what they have to work with. Just like an actor, I went to acting school, and my acting teacher would say, the more pain you have, the more you can work with in a character. And because you have to draw up certain emotions. But in acting, at least in that way, you can come back to yourself after you portray a character. So you don't have to live with that. And it's a way of discharging, getting rid of some of those things that are dormant in the body, in the psychological body, inside the body. We have to embody things, the somatic body. So continuing, I am your host to this podcast, and It's Your Voice And it's a hybrid of topics: mindfulness, sexuality, relationships, and I may have some true crime stuff at some point. We'll see where this all goes. In order to balance out, this male and female energy within, to come to full maturity, we have to align with nature. And nature is the water, the earth, the mother earth, and the green out there. So the polarities exist everywhere. Everywhere. Step into your light, folks. Basically, it's about assessing the differences in your partner, in yourself. But again, remembering to always approach with love and harmony in mind. Because approaching with love will open up your creativeness, will keep the heart connected, and will keep that flow, that fluidity moving that you embody in your soul. It brings you closer to your soul. Now, getting back to what male and female energies are about, and again, doesn't matter your sex, if you're a man or a woman, or what your sexual preference is, it really doesn't matter, or how you identify yourself as. But masculine essential qualities would be initiatory, seeking freedom. The masculine energy always wants to be adventurous. They always have more of a sense of purpose. And we need that to, like a lot of women, or like myself, for example. I'm more in my masculine energy because I've always had to be like the father in the household growing up, helping mom. So I had to take on a masculine role. So I'm always working to bring out and nourish my sensual, my feminine side by seeking love, for example, that's the feminine in me, or receptive, or finding the sense of connection, radiance and beauty, caring. Always caring for someone is a very feminine, and men need to have the caring in them, the nourishment, especially if you have children. You need to shift and turn these sides on and off. The feminine nature in someone is unpredictable. It's flowing. The masculine is evolving, living on the edge. So I love living on the edge, and I know that I have this more independence, decisive and directive way about me, but a lot of women do, especially women in politics. And we've come into a world now that women are very accepted, and we have our voice, and we're in a lot of different fields. And back in the day, women were not that way. We were silenced. But the unpredictableness is also a trait of feminine energy within. And yes, having this feminine energy and having this unpredictableness is just a wonderful way to be spontaneous. Spontaneity in love, in sexuality, in traveling, in adventure. So finding that spontaneity that lives within you, but having boundaries with it. We don't want to go, there's this impulse and intuition. You don't want to be overly impulsive. You want to be able to harness what the voice is saying within. Okay. And once you harness what the voice is saying way down, deep down in there, it is your intuition. Listen to that voice. But to hear that voice, folks, to hear it, we must have this clarity. You must be cleaning out your emotional cleansing, which I offer in my somatic kinepathics work. I practice the work of Dr. Orgone energy breathing, as developed by Dr. Wilhelm Reich, and bioenergetics as developed by Alexandra Lowen. And these are just wonderful ways to clean out your cup, empty your cup, so to speak. And the more we clean, the more we can come into the power, and the more we hear the voice, and we become that. The action is the voice. Okay, folks, so getting back to polarity is what attracts us, but is not the complete image. Now, again, I'm going to talk to you about 3 different types of couples, but first let me just start with, sex is overrated, or is it X-rated? Sex is X-rated. I don't see it as X-rated. I see it as overrated, because everyone bases every relationship on sex. What is that about? I've had so many sexual relationships. I'm just like, I wouldn't be able to communicate and connect with someone and feel that similarity, that what we have, those parallels. So low polarity couples would be, some people seek a full package. Let me start there. Now, a full package is whatever you perceive that to be, but there is no full package, folks. There is nothing full in life. Life is not black and white. There are grays in there, and we must sustain and adjust and adapt to the different grays. You can create your own full package, whatever you think that is, or whatever it is that you need, what your body needs, what your mind needs, what your soul needs. So, let's take a breath, folks. I'm just going on here talking, and it is a beautiful day in the life of Anita. So, getting back to the 3 types of couples. I'm going to start with the low polarity couples. Now, these couples, they could be attracted to each other. They find this universal love. They could even be soulmates or twin flames, but they have no sexual attraction. Now, they may seek out because they don't have a sexual attraction, and one of them wants sex, or they both want sex, but there's no attraction, there's no polarity. But in those cases, if one has the sexual attraction, then it could work. The other one needs the work. Now, some people are not open sexually or not alive sexually because they have maybe a low libido or medical issues, or they're just tired, they're older. We're young people people in their 80s are having mucho sex out there. But again, it's not about sex. If you're connected in love and sex is not the priority, and one is sexually attracted, that is how you meet your person. You meet them through a sexual energy. You don't meet someone and say, oh, I find that man or woman so sexy, I think I'll go with them. That's where you come into the high polarity couples. It's a lustful sexual attraction. You could be all over each other. The moment you see each other and it's all sex, 6 months, it's going to fizzle out because there's no communication and there's no connection. And those relationships are great too because they're fun and you escape and you don't have to worry about expectations. Although we tend to fall in love in those sexual relationships, we do, those love addictive relationships. But in the end, they will amount to nothing except, your body being used up sexually. But if you come back and you get back to where the low polarity couples are, or any polarity couple, you come together through sexual energy. So you're attracted to someone through that energy. So let's forget about the body, the mind, the soul, and the action or your intention. But let's come to your body, your energy. Your energy attracts you. My sexual energy attracts me to someone. And if I didn't have that energy alive within, in my lower chakra, the root chakra, or even the creative sexual chakra, then I may not be connecting or liking them. So love is coming, or at least starts with the sexual energy. And then it all unfolds. But not necessarily do you have to be having great sex. Now let's get to the active couples. Now they're deeply connected. Maybe they're twin flames, soulmates, whatever you want to call it. And they have a strong physical attraction, and they can shift. They can have sex, they can not have sex. They can do it, they're very flexible and spontaneous. But they have to be healthy. You got to keep in mind, you have to look at age, you have to look at the person's health. What if somebody has medical issues in the sexual area, or a low libido, or there's many things you can do to help yourself out there. And Tantra is one of them, folks. tantrawisdom.com is who I am. So you can learn to bring out your passion. And that's what it's all about, is having that passion. But it doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins with going out in the world and showing passion. Me, I'm having an orgasm looking at the flower show, or I'm orgasmic when I eat some really gorgeous, lovely food that is so exotically prepared. So orgasm is expression. It is not, sexual in that way, or orgasm or ejaculation. It is not that. It is getting into the world and the light of the world and people and finding that bliss. And that's your orgasm, folks. That's what you need to bring into your relationship. So you got to open up, get out of the shadow that you're living. That shadow is keeping you compulsive, addictive, keeping you addicted to anything. Even if you've had addictions, you're still addicted to whatever. Like some people are addicted to going to their meetings. That becomes a whole nother thing. That in itself is an addiction. Let's breathe, folks. I have all this energy today, right? Okay. Ideally, what do we want in life? In anything. We want to unionize, and we want it in sacred union. We want to come together in sacred union. Unionizing. One thing I want to add there is part of all of this energy, this cultivation, is to respect your desires. What are your desires? Please do not put a lid on them. Do not dismiss them. Stay connected to your desire. And the desires will bring you where you need to go in life. So that is what I'm asking all of you to do, is stay connected to your desires. Okay, so we have a little bit more for you folks. You're listening to It's Your Voice. I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco, on this podcast. And it is dedicated to all the voiceless women of the world and the DonnaGentiliStory.com. Men look to women for inspiration and the mother figure, the nourishment. But men have a lot of unhealed trauma. Please, men, let's awaken the trauma. They tend to avoid feelings, where women tend to find ways to express their feelings through getting their nails done, through going to the spa. So what we want to do is, again, encourage this male and female in each other. If you see your man is more in the shadow, focusing on, the frozen part, the armored part, the addictive part, the compulsions, and being addicted to anything out there except themselves, being addicted to your own self-love is the way to go. Then this person needs some, some encouragement of how to open the feelings through the heart. So this is where we want to go, is this unhealed trauma that lives in all of us, men and women. But women tend to find it easier to go express. So let's teach our folks out there. Let's teach the men what it is that we desire. Healing comes from nurturing. Men tend to run from that. How does it feel to want is a statement I've heard. Now, thinking that could be materialistic, but it isn't. I want love, but I fear. How does it feel to want? I want connection, but I am scared. I want to be in a healthy relationship, but I don't know how because I'm a scared little girl or boy. So these are the things that we want to look at. How does it feel to want? Coming back to the consciousness, folks, what it really takes is awareness. And the awareness comes from the awakenings, is what your polarities are really about. They are about your awakenings. So I want you, for your homework this week, is just to sit down and just reflect on your whole life. Where have you had an awakening, or haven't you? Or maybe you're having one now, listening and reading and tuning into all these different types of things on the web out there. I just want you to find that awakening. And then from there, we're going to uproot that, let it unfold. So on that note, folks, I'm going to let you go and thank you for tuning into It's Your Voice. I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco. And of course, this will be available through Spotify, Apple, all of these mediums out there. And you can always find it on my social media pages, tantrawisdomcom, practicing. I am a transformational specialist, divine love transformation, and I offer psychotherapy, love and relationship, which is Tantra Wisdom Coaching Counseling. Please private message me, folks, for anything that you'd like to learn. If you have questions, comments, I'm open to anything. I thank you. Blessed. Bye-bye.